For nearly 10 years, I called them my family. Maybe that was my first mistake. When I married Megan, her son Cole was 11. His biological father, Trevor, existed mostly as a name attached to forgotten promises. A birthday call here. A weekend that got cancelled there. He was technically Cole's father. I was the man who actually showed up. I drove Cole to practice when Megan worked late. I sat in freezing parking lots waiting for him. I taught him how to change a tire. When he needed his first car, I helped pay for it, then spent 2 weekends fixing everything the previous owner had neglected. I never asked him to call me Dad. I never tried to replace Trevor. I just thought that if I stayed long enough, worked hard enough, and treated him like family, eventually he would see me as family too. Years passed. Cole became an adult, got a full-time job, and somehow never got around to moving out. I didn't mind at first. The house was big enough. He was Megan's son. I told myself young people needed time to get established. Except, getting established apparently meant earning a paycheck while somebody else bought the groceries, paid the electricity, covered the internet, and even kept his car insured. That somebody was me. Then one Tuesday night, I made what I thought was a reasonable request. We were eating dinner when I told Cole that since he was working full-time, I wanted him to start contributing toward groceries and utilities. Not rent. Not some enormous payment. Just something. Cole leaned back in his chair and smirked. Then he said the sentence that ended the family I thought I had. "This isn't your home. You just live here." I stared at him. Then I looked at Megan. That was the moment that mattered. Not Cole's words. Hers. Or rather, the absence of them. She looked down at her plate. She said nothing. 10 years. 10 years of repairs, insurance payments, groceries, emergencies, Christmas mornings, broken appliances, car problems and late-night favors. And when her son told me I was a guest in my own life, my wife couldn't find one sentence to defend me. So I nodded. Okay. That was all. I finished dinner. And the next morning, I began living according to the rules they'd given me. I stopped buying household groceries. I removed my card from the automatic payments for utilities and transferred Megan only my portion. Cole's car insurance? Cancelled. The subscriptions charged to my account? Gone. His phone upgrade? Not my problem. Within 2 weeks, the kitchen counter looked different. Bills. Notices. Receipts. Consequences. Cole cornered me one evening. "You're doing this on purpose." "Doing what?" "Punishing us." I looked at him. "No. I'm paying my share in a house where apparently I just live." His face tightened. Then I did the one thing neither he nor Megan expected. Because there was one detail Cole apparently didn't know. I had bought that house years before I married his mother. It was mine. Legally. Completely. So I spoke to a professional, learned the proper process for ending an adult household member's residency, and completed the necessary paperwork. That evening, I placed it beside Cole's dinner plate. He read the first page. Then the second. His face changed. "What is this? You told me this isn't my home." I leaned back. "Turns out it is." Megan finally spoke. "Ryan." I looked at her. "No. You had something to say that night. You chose not to say it." Cole stared at the papers. For once, there was no smirk. He called Trevor the next day. His real father. The man whose place I had supposedly never earned. Trevor didn't have a spare room. Didn't have money to help. Didn't want another adult living with him. Funny how quickly biology became less impressive when rent entered the conversation. Megan begged me to reconsider. She said Cole had been angry. That he hadn't meant it. But that wasn't the point. "You could have corrected him," I told her. "One sentence, Megan. That's all it would have taken," she cried. I didn't. Cole moved into a small apartment 3 weeks later. Then reality introduced itself. Rent. Electricity. internet, insurance, gas, groceries. The invisible machinery of adulthood he never noticed because I had been quietly paying to keep it running. A month later, Megan told me Cole had admitted he couldn't believe how expensive groceries were. I almost laughed. Almost. But there was nothing funny about it. A few weeks after that, Cole called me. He had questions about his lease. I could have ignored him. I didn't. I explained the clauses he didn't understand. Told him what to document. What to ask the landlord. Because despite everything, I had never wanted to destroy him. I simply refused to finance my own humiliation. Several months later, Cole came over for dinner. Afterward, while Megan cleared the table, he stayed in the kitchen with me. "I was wrong," he said. I waited. "What I said, about this not being your home." He swallowed. "It was cruel." For once, there was no excuse attached. Then he looked around the kitchen. "I didn't understand what you were doing for us." I nodded. "I know. I'm sorry." And I accepted his apology. But I didn't restore his insurance. I didn't start paying his bills again. I didn't invite him to move back. Forgiveness doesn't require returning to the arrangement that taught someone they could disrespect you without consequences. That was the lesson I learned. Money hadn't been the real issue. Neither was the house. It was that dinner table. Cole had shown me what he thought my place was. And Megan's silence had told me she was willing to let me stand there. That silence became expensive. For Cole, it cost comfort. For Megan, it cost trust. And for me, it cost the illusion that sacrifice automatically makes you family. Sometimes people don't understand what you carried until you finally put it down. So tell me, was I wrong to take Cole at his word? Or would you have stopped carrying a family that could accept everything you provided while telling you that you didn't belong? The next morning, I woke before Megan. For years, mornings had followed the same ritual. Coffee first. Then I checked the bills, made sure the automatic payments had cleared, looked at what groceries we needed, and quietly kept the machinery of our household moving before anyone else even opened their eyes. That morning, I did something different. I stopped. I sat at my desk with my coffee cooling beside me and opened every account connected to the house. Electricity, water, internet, streaming services, insurance, groceries. I had never really noticed how many pieces of their lives were tied directly to my bank account until I started disconnecting them. One by one. I removed my personal card from the household utilities and arranged to transfer only what represented my share to Megan. Then I found Cole's car insurance. My name. My payment. His car. I stared at the screen for several seconds. Then I canceled it. After that came the subscriptions. Music. Movies. A gaming service. Cloud storage. Things so small individually that I had never bothered questioning them. Together, they were another quiet reminder of how comfortable Cole had become living on money he never had to think about. Click. Cancelled. Click. Removed. Click. Gone. I wasn't furious anymore. That was what frightened me. Anger would have been easier. Instead, I felt calm. Cole had told me exactly what I was. A man who merely lived there. So I decided to become one. The first few days, nobody noticed. There was still food in the refrigerator. The lights still came on. The internet still worked. Comfort has momentum. People don't immediately notice when the person pushing it stops. Then the refrigerator started looking empty. Cole opened it one evening and stood there staring. "Where's everything?" I was sitting at the kitchen table. "Everything what?" "Food. I bought what I needed." He looked at the shelves again. There were eggs, vegetables, some chicken, coffee creamer. My food. Nothing else. "You didn't go shopping?" "I did." His eyes narrowed. "For yourself?" I nodded. He laughed once, but there was no humor in it. "Seriously?" I returned to what I was reading. 2 days later, Megan found the utility notices. She walked into the living room holding several envelopes. "Ryan, what's going on with these?" "I changed the payments." Her forehead tightened. "What do you mean?" "I transferred you my portion." She stared at me. "My portion?" "Yes." She lowered the envelopes. "We don't divide bills like roommates." That sentence almost impressed me. I looked at her. "Apparently we do now." She understood immediately. Her face changed. "You're still angry about what Cole said?" "No." "Then what is this?" "I'm respecting what he said." She shook her head. "Ryan, come on." "No, Megan. He told me this isn't my home." "You sat there and let him say it." "So I'm no longer going to financially behave as though I'm responsible for everybody living inside it." She went silent again. That silence no longer wounded me. Now it simply confirmed things. Cole discovered the insurance cancellation the following morning. He came downstairs holding his phone like evidence at a trial. "Did you cancel my insurance?" "Yes." "What the hell? You work full-time." So insure your car." His jaw tightened. "You've always paid it. And you've always lived here without contributing." He threw his hands up. "This is insane. You're punishing everyone because of one argument." I stood. "No, Cole. Punishment would mean I'm taking something that belongs to you. I'm simply no longer giving you things that belong to me." He stepped closer. "You really want to destroy this family over money?" That sentence finally made something cold move through me. "Money?" I stared at him. "You think this is about money?" He didn't answer. "For almost 10 years, I've paid for things you never even knew existed. I helped buy your car. I paid insurance, groceries, repairs, utilities. Every time something broke, I handled it. Every time this household needed money, I found it." He rolled his eyes. I saw it. That tiny gesture. That was enough. "You know what?" I said quietly. "You're right." His expression shifted. "This isn't working." Megan came into the room. "What isn't working?" I looked at Cole. "Living together." For the first time, the confidence disappeared from his face. "What are you talking about?" I didn't answer immediately. Because there was something Cole didn't understand. Something Megan rarely thought about anymore. I had bought this house before I ever met her. Before the marriage. Before Cole moved his posters into the upstairs bedroom and began calling the refrigerator his. The deed was mine. The mortgage had been mine. The down payment had come from years of my work. Cole had spent years living in my house while apparently believing I was the guest. That afternoon, I made an appointment with a professional. I explained the situation carefully. An adult household member. No ownership interest. No lease. I wasn't interested in threats or shortcuts. I wanted everything handled legally and properly. I learned the process. I completed the necessary paperwork. Then I came home. Cole was sitting at the kitchen table eating takeout. Megan was beside him. I placed the papers between them. Cole glanced down. Then looked again. The color slowly drained from his face. "What is this?" I pulled out the chair across from him and sat down. "You told me I just live here." His eyes lifted toward mine. I kept my voice calm. "Legally, Cole, you're the one who does." Megan whispered my name. I didn't look at her. "Not yet." Cole flipped through the pages. "You can't be serious." "I am." "So you're kicking me out?" "I'm ending an arrangement that apparently has no respect attached to it." He stared at me. For once, no smirk. No clever answer. Just silence. Then Megan reached across the table. "Ryan, please." I finally looked at her. And I remembered that dinner. Her lowered eyes. Her silence. Her decision to let her son erase me inside the house I had provided. "You had your chance to say something," I told her. Her hand stopped. Cole looked between us. And suddenly I could see that both of them finally understood. This wasn't another argument. I wasn't threatening to leave. I wasn't asking to be respected anymore. I had stopped asking. The bill had arrived. And this time, my name wasn't on it. Megan waited until Cole went upstairs before she confronted me. I knew it was coming. I was standing at the kitchen sink, washing the plate I had barely eaten from, when she closed the door behind him and turned toward me. "You're really going through with this?" I kept washing. "Yes. Ryan, he's my son." "I know. He said something stupid." I shut off the water. There it was. The explanation I had expected. One stupid sentence. One moment of anger. One misunderstanding that I was apparently supposed to absorb because absorbing things had become my role in that family. I dried my hands slowly. "This isn't about one sentence, Megan. What else could it possibly be about?" I looked at her. 10 years. She frowned. 10 years of me showing up. 10 years of paying for this house, buying groceries, fixing everything that broke, helping Cole with cars, insurance, emergencies. 10 years of asking for almost nothing. "I know what you've done." "Do you?" She flinched. I stepped closer. "Because when your son looked me in the face and told me I was a stranger in my own home, you didn't sound like someone who knew." Her eyes filled. I was shocked. "You were silent." I didn't know what to say. One sentence. She stared at me. "That's all I needed from you. Tell him he was wrong. Tell him this is my home too. Tell him he doesn't get to speak to me like that." I should have. But you didn't. The room became painfully quiet. For years I had thought silence meant avoiding conflict. That night I understood something else. Silence can be a decision. And Megan had made hers. Upstairs I heard Cole walking around his room. A drawer slammed. Then another. Megan lowered her voice. "Where is he supposed to go?" "He's 21, Megan. That doesn't answer me. He works full-time. Rent is expensive. So is supporting another adult." She stared at me as though I had become cruel overnight. Maybe that was easier than admitting I had simply stopped being useful on command. The next morning, Cole called Trevor. I didn't hear the entire conversation, but I heard enough. At first Cole sounded confident. Then quieter. Then angry. "What do you mean you don't have room?" Silence. "It's temporary." More silence. "You've got a whole house." Then came the sentence I will never forget. "But you're my dad." I stood in the hallway and closed my eyes. There it was. The title that apparently mattered so much. Dad. Trevor had possessed it without earning it. I had performed the job without receiving it. And now Cole was discovering that words didn't pay rent. The call ended with the door slamming. An hour later, Cole came downstairs. His face was red. "Happy?" I looked up from my coffee. "About what?" Trevor said no. I said nothing. "He doesn't have space." Still nothing. Cole laughed bitterly. "You knew that would happen." "No." "Yes, you did." I set down my cup. "Cole, your relationship with your father isn't my responsibility. You're loving this." That accusation hurt more than I expected. Because despite everything, I wasn't. I remembered the 11-year-old boy sitting beside me in my truck after practice. The 16-year-old grinning when I helped him find his first car. The kid who once called because he'd gotten a flat tire and didn't know what to do. I had never wanted to see him frightened. But protecting someone from every consequence eventually teaches him that consequences belong to other people. "No," I said. "I'm not loving any of this." He looked away. "But I'm not fixing it either." Cole found an apartment 12 days later. Small. Old. Nothing like the bedroom he had occupied for years without paying $1. Megan helped him pack. I stayed out of the way. When he carried the final box downstairs, he stopped near the front door. For a moment, I thought he might apologize. Instead, he said, "Hope you're satisfied." I opened the door. I hope you learned something. He walked past me. The apartment began teaching him almost immediately. First came the deposit. Then rent. Then electricity. Internet. Car insurance. Gas. Groceries. Every invisible expense he had once treated as part of the atmosphere suddenly had a number attached to it. Megan still talked to him every day. I never asked what they discussed. Then, 3 weeks after he moved out, she came into my office. Cole called. I waited. His electric bill came. I almost smiled. Almost. He said he thinks they made a mistake. Why? He couldn't believe it cost that much. I leaned back. And? He checked. I already knew the answer. They didn't make a mistake. No. A week later, it was groceries. Then insurance. Then a repair on his car. Life kept presenting invoices. And there was nobody standing behind him quietly paying them anymore. One evening my phone rang. Cole. I nearly let it go to voicemail. Instead, I answered. Hey. His voice sounded different. Smaller somehow. I need to ask you something. What? My lease. I waited. There's a section about renewal and notice. I don't understand what it means. He sounded embarrassed. I could have told him to call Trevor. Part of me wanted to. But boundaries weren't revenge. That distinction mattered. Send me a picture. He did. I read it and explained exactly what the language meant, what deadline he needed to remember, and what he should get in writing from the landlord. He was quiet afterward. Then he said, Thanks. Not Dad. Not Ryan. Just thanks. Strangely, it was enough. Because for the first time, he wasn't calling me because he expected me to pay. He was asking for something I could choose to give. Advice. When we hung up, Megan was standing in the doorway. You helped him? Yes. She looked confused. I thought you were done. I shook my head. I'm done being used. That's different. Her eyes dropped. And I think that was when she finally understood what I had been trying to say from the beginning. I hadn't thrown Cole away. I had stopped carrying him. There is a difference. A painful one. But sometimes the only way a grown man learns the weight of his own life is when the person carrying it finally puts it back into his hands. Several months passed before Cole came back for dinner. Not stopped by for 5 minutes. Not came over because Megan had something he needed. Dinner. A real family dinner. When Megan told me he was coming, I didn't ask why. I had learned not to build expectations around Cole anymore. Expectations had been part of my problem from the beginning. Every favor had carried a quiet hope that one day he would understand. Every sacrifice had contained an invisible request to be seen. I wasn't doing that anymore. Cole arrived at 6 carrying a bottle of wine. That surprised me. He handed it to Megan, then looked at me. Hey, Ryan. Hey. No tension. No challenge. Just 2 men standing inside a doorway where, months earlier, one of them had been told he didn't belong. Cole looked different. Not dramatically. He hadn't become another person. But there was something in his face that hadn't been there before. Weight. Life had put weight behind his eyes. We ate roast chicken, potatoes, and vegetables. Megan talked more than either of us, carefully filling every silence before it could become uncomfortable. I understood why. She was still afraid of silence. I wasn't. Halfway through dinner, Cole mentioned that his rent was increasing when his lease renewed. How much? Megan asked. He told her. She nearly dropped her fork. That's ridiculous. Cole gave a tired laugh. Apparently that's adulthood. I looked down at my plate. Months earlier, he would have said it differently. He would have complained as though somebody should rescue him. Now he simply understood. After dinner, Megan began clearing the table. I carried 2 plates into the kitchen, then returned for the glasses. Cole was still sitting there. You got a minute? I stopped. Sure. Megan looked toward us. Cole glanced at her. Mom, can you give us a second? That surprised me more than the wine. She hesitated, then disappeared upstairs. Cole rubbed his palms together. For several seconds he said nothing. Then he looked directly at me. I've been meaning to say this for a while. I waited. What I said that night. He stopped. I knew exactly which night. This isn't your home. You just live here. Hearing the words again didn't hurt the way they once had. Maybe because they no longer controlled anything. Cole swallowed. That was cruel. I said nothing. And stupid. Still, I waited. He looked around the dining room. Especially because this literally is your house. A bitter smile crossed his face and vanished. But that's not really what I mean. I leaned against the chair. What do you mean? I mean, I acted like none of what you did counted. There it was. Not an excuse. Not anger. Recognition. Cole stared at the table. When I moved out, I thought I'd be fine. I figured rent would suck, but whatever. I had a job. He laughed quietly. Then everything started showing up. Everything? Everything. He counted them on his fingers. Electricity. Internet. Insurance. Groceries. Gas. Laundry. That stupid fee they charge for trash. I almost smiled. He noticed. Yeah. Laugh. I'm not laughing. You should. Then his expression became serious again. I had no idea. I knew what he meant. I'd opened the refrigerator here and food was just there. The lights worked. The Wi-Fi worked. My insurance got paid. Something broke and somehow it got fixed. His eyes met mine. I never asked who was doing it. That sentence landed harder than any apology could have. Because that had been the truth of my life in that house. I had become invisible through reliability. The more consistently I provided, the less anyone noticed the providing. Until all they saw was the result. Never the man behind it. Cole continued. I thought because you could afford things, they didn't cost you anything. I nodded slowly. That's not how money works. I know that now. Silence settled between us. This time, it wasn't hostile. Finally, he said, I'm sorry. Simple. No tears. No dramatic speech. Just the words I had once thought I needed. I looked at him for a long moment. I accept your apology. His shoulders loosened. But I wasn't finished. That doesn't mean things go back. He nodded immediately. I know. That mattered. The old Cole would have negotiated. Would have treated forgiveness like a restored subscription. This Cole understood that an apology could close a wound without erasing the scar. I don't expect you to pay for anything, he said. Good. I mean it. I believe you. He looked toward the stairs. Then his voice dropped. I also shouldn't have put Mom in that position. I shook my head. You didn't. He frowned. She put herself there. Cole understood. Her silence had been her decision. Later, after he left, Megan and I sat alone at the table. She stared at the empty chair where her son had been. You were right, she whispered. I didn't enjoy hearing it. I had imagined those words during the worst nights. They brought no satisfaction now. I didn't want to be right. She reached across the table. This time, I let her take my hand. But something between us had changed permanently. Trust doesn't return because somebody finally understands why it disappeared. It returns slowly. If it returns at all. Cole kept his apartment. He kept paying his own insurance. He bought his own groceries. And when he needed advice, sometimes he called me. I helped when I wanted to. Not because I owed him. Because I chose to. That difference gave both of us something we had never really possessed before. Respect. I spent almost 10 years believing family was measured by how much a man was willing to carry. I was wrong. A family isn't proven when one person keeps paying, fixing and sacrificing while everyone else becomes comfortable enough to forget him. Family is revealed when the giving stops. When there is nothing left to take. When the person across from you finally has to decide whether he valued you or merely valued what you provided. Cole eventually learned the difference. Megan did too. And so did I. That night at the dinner table, Cole's cruelty had cost him his comfortable life. But Megan's silence had cost something greater. It cost the version of me who believed love required endless endurance. I never became that man again. Maybe that sounds cold. Maybe forgiveness should have meant forgetting everything and opening the door exactly as wide as before. But I don't believe that anymore. I forgave Cole. I loved Megan. I helped when help felt deserved. But I never again confused sacrifice with obligation. Because respect that exists only while the bills are being paid isn't respect. It's dependence wearing a family name. So tell me this. If you had spent 10 years carrying people who stayed silent while you were told you didn't belong, would you have kept carrying them? Or would you, like me, have finally put the weight down and made them discover exactly how much your silence was worth,